Listen up. July was the hottest month in Earth's recorded history, a record that goes back to 1880. Then my hometown of Southern California gets whiplash with Hurricane Hillary warnings. That is all to say the weather has been weird. And the reason is both obvious and not so obvious, mainly due to a major natural disaster that nobody seems to be talking about or even know about. By far the biggest reason to this intense heat is human contributions to climate change, which has caused record temperatures in the water, dangerously low sea ice, and just general extreme heat around the globe. Okay, now into the not so obvious. This event kind of flew under the radar for whatever reason, unless you were searching for it or you work in that space. It's the Tonga eruption of 2022. There was a massive volcanic eruption last January in the Tonga archipelago, and when this happened, scientists from all around the world were all over this particular eruption like a crime scene investigation to try and retrace the final moments of what led to this immense eruption. Here's what I mean by immense. The blast from the volcanic eruption was so powerful that it was bigger than any US nuclear explosion and sent a sonic boom around the world twice. At its peak, the volcano blasted out material at a rate of approximately 11 billion pounds per second. That's the weight of more than 15 Empire State Buildings per second. The eruption sent water, volcanic material, and ash 36 miles up into the air. 36 miles. Just so we're all on the same page and we can be shocked together, our weather mostly happens in the troposphere, which is about 14 kilometers or 10 miles high. That's also how high commercial airplanes will fly at. The Tonga eruption literally blew past that and entered our stratosphere, where our ozone layer is. And the amount of water that was blasted into our atmosphere was unprecedented. Enough water to fill nearly 60,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Okay, so get this. The water plume from the eruption was so intense that it created its own weather system. A recent study found that this plume caused the most intense lightning storm ever recorded. 2,600 lightning bolts per minute were recorded during peak activity. And some of that lightning occurred 12 to 19 miles above sea level. The study authors also say that this rate of 2,600 lightning bolts per minute could be higher because the lightning sensor instrument essentially blew itself up because it was detecting so much lightning so fast that it became oversaturated. The lightning also did this weird thing where it formed rings and expanded and contracted around the center of the volcano, kind of like it was breathing, something the study authors had never seen before. Chris Bogatsky, a meteorologist and lightning data expert, recorded that at peak eruption, half of the world's lightning was happening at the Tonga eruption. This breaks all records of any other weather system, storm, or volcanic eruption in Earth's history. And all of this went on for 11 hours, possibly more. Just in case you're still not understanding the scale, the eruption was so massive that you could see it from space. This photo was taken by an astronaut from the International Space Station the day after the eruption on January 16th. So how is the Tonga eruption linked to this record-breaking heat? Well, a massive plume of water that was aggressively injected into the atmosphere is temporarily warming the Earth's surface. Louis Milan, an atmospheric scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab, and his colleagues led a new study that examined how much water vapor was injected into the atmosphere by the Tonga event. They concluded the eruption sent approximately 146 teragrams, with 1 teragram equaling 1 trillion grams of water vapor into the Earth's stratosphere. So the problem is the excess water vapor in the stratosphere could stay stuck there for several years. This influences atmospheric chemistry, which could worsen the depletion of the ozone layer and temperatures on the ground. Now, that doesn't sound so bad. It's water after all, but water vapor at that level and that amount can warm the planet just as much as carbon dioxide. In fact, water vapor is the most abundant greenhouse gas and accounts for 60 to 70% of the greenhouse effect, while carbon dioxide accounts for 25%. The Tonga explosion didn't just expel dust and ash, it blasted water into the atmosphere atmosphere, and water vapor traps heat. This, my friends, is what science calls a positive feedback loop. A study published in Nature estimates that the Tonga explosion is contributing to the warming of global surface temperatures exceeding 1.5 Celsius for at least the next 5 years. So after hearing all of that, a great question you probably have is, hey Hernie, then why are climate change efforts so focused on carbon dioxide and not water vapor? The answer is water vapor can't be controlled by human intervention. It's a byproduct of our environment, but CO2 can. And the Tonga eruption is just one reason for this record-breaking heat.